Hello, 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 everybody. What is up? What is up? What is up? We are back with another Real Talk Tuesday segment. I am Brittany Stevenson, and I will be facilitating tonight's conversation. I got my crew back with me. You know the people, Miss Brianna Branch, Reverend Brandon Gale, and Reverend Kenneth Watson are in the building. How y'all doing today?
I'm great.
Good. How are you?
Oh, okay. I was okay with a minute. Okay, good. And tonight with us, we have a very special guest. We have Mrs. Jocelyn Montgomery. Hey, Miss Jocelyn. Miss Jocelyn is the election program assistant for the Wicomico County Board of Elections. So by me saying that, I'm sure y'all know what we're getting ready to talk about, right? We're talking about election and voting. I know it's October, but next month is a very, very, it's a very important time in democracy here. We are, getting ready to vote for local office, state offices. So we thought it was a great opportunity to get some information because, knowledge is power. So before we get really into it, what is voting? Voting is a method for a group of people, whether it's a large group of people like a state or even our country, or a small group of people like church setting, school setting, to basically voice their opinion and to make a decision. In a nutshell, that's what voting is. So with that being said, Miss Jocelyn, we have a couple of questions for you to help us, get prepared for this upcoming election. So if you don't mind, we're going to get started with that. Good?
Okay.
All right. Take it away.
All right. So our first question for the night is what seats are on the ballot, or what positions are there for us to vote for on this upcoming election?
Okay, for this election, we have a lot of contests that will be on the ballot, from county executive to county council, but we also have our county offices, we have our state offices, and we have federal offices. So with our county offices, that includes, again, county exec, county council, board of ed, our sheriff, judges, clerk of the circuit court. Our state offices would include our governor and comptroller, attorney general, our rep in Congress, the people who will represent us in Congress. And of course, our federal offices include our U.S. senator as well.
Okay.
It's a lot more on the ballot than I was
It is a lot. We actually have a 2-page ballot in Wicomico.
Wow.
So it will be a 2-page ballot. Although it seems like a lot, we're really blessed. There are other counties that have 4 pages. So I'm grateful to just have a 2-page ballot.
Yeah.
Right.
And let me, before we get any further, I just want to say that while, we are inclusive to, voting all over, when Ms. Jocelyn is speaking, we're speaking on behalf of Wicomico County. Obviously, if you have questions about your local election coming up, you would need to speak to the Board of Elections in your county. But right now, we're going to talk about Wicomico County. So I'm sorry. I think, Brandon, Reverend Gale, you had a question.
Oh, Brandon's fine. You okay? I was going to ask, who are the candidates running for these positions?
Our candidate list, the names of those candidates is very long.
Okay.
There are a lot of candidates. So that I don't say anyone's name wrong or miss anyone's name, the best way to know all of the candidates that are running is to go onto the State Board of Elections website. And I'll probably say that several times tonight, but elections with an s.marylandspelledout.gov, and that will actually give you the list of all of the candidates and the positions they're running for. It gives you their names, and some of them even have their personal websites or maybe even social media pages so that you can reach out to them and ask questions if you like. We have a lot of people in Wicomico County that use that resource and then can reach out to the candidates individually to see exactly what they stand for or what their campaign focus is.
Okay, do they give this is another question, sorry. Do they give like any do they have to give like background any of their background, like, for what they did or what they're doing as far as work, or, are there anything involved in their life?
They do not. They do not
Okay.
have to give that to run as a candidate. Well, as far as what they give to the public.
Okay.
There are a lot of applications and forms that our candidates have to complete when they are filing for candidacy. But as far as what they share, they don't have to give that. And some of them may not even have a public phone number because some candidates just don't want the calls. And that's totally up to them. They're not required to give a phone number. They aren't required to give an email. Some candidates give all of that: social media, email, mail, send me mail at this address if you want to talk to me. And that's absolutely wonderful for our constituents in Wicomico County, because some of them really do have questions, and they'll focus their questions to those candidates in those different media areas.
Okay. Sounds good.
I have a question. So, in addition, we know there's candidates on the ballot, but I know when I've voted in the past, there's also laws or other legislations that are on the ballot that are up for a vote as well. Can you speak to that in reference to Wicomico County? Some of the things that we will find when we go to the polls this year.
Well, every voter in Wicomico County, if you had not already requested a ballot by mail, you would have gotten a sample ballot. They are out in the mail. If you haven't gotten that yet, you should be getting that shortly. And that sample ballot will also include some questions. There will be questions on this ballot. There are questions that come from the state, and there are some that come from the county. And according, like Ms. Brittany said earlier, every county has different questions or possibly a different setup. But again, we're just talking about Wicomico. So it ranges in different things from legislative changes to, as you all know, there is a question about cannabis. So legalization of cannabis, but those questions come directly from the state or your county representatives. And we just facilitate that as far as adding it to the ballot. We don't have any other, input or suggestions that we offer for those questions. There will be summaries of those questions available online now. There are summaries inside of your sample ballot information that you would have received in the mail. And there'll also be summaries available at the polling place just to assist voters if they need it. It doesn't tell you what you should vote or how you should vote on each question, just gives you a little bit more information and a little bit more detail. I know that we've had several people come into the office that are curious about the questions. And so again, we direct them to the state website because the state website does offer a summary and a little bit more information on those questions.
Right. So the information is available to us. We just have to seek it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is
You shall
always
find.
available. Always available.
Goodness. So what is the deadline like to register? If you haven't already registered, what is the deadline to register for this upcoming election?
Well, today is the 18th. Today at 5:00 was the deadline to register to vote and to change your party affiliation. Okay. And that was for today. And although today was the deadline for that voter registration and party affiliation change, the state of Maryland does offer same-day registration. And same-day registration is available at early voting, and it is also available on election day. You will need to have a Maryland state driver's license or a state ID, and they use that information to register you at our polling places. If you don't have that, there are other avenues you can take. It just takes more steps and it's more work. That's why we try to encourage people to meet the deadline, because we'll be able to help you with that in the office and make sure that you get through and you're not pending or inactive, and we can make sure that you're active and ready to go election day. But there still are options.
So don't give up.
Don't give up.
Right. So if they miss that deadline of the 18th, what they should go directly to the website.
They should go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, to find out what they should do next, since you said there are options. What's the first thing they should do?
The first thing they should do is listen to your podcast show. I love this. This is great information and a nice resource. They can go to the state website, and that will direct them and give them information. But as far as registering on election day, they just need to go to the voting place. Okay. So we have early voting sites, our early voting sites, and I think we will probably talk about that later. I'm sure this is probably one of your questions. I'm probably jumping on somebody's question, and I do apologize. But early voting will take place at the Civic Center, and it will also take place at First Baptist Church. You can go to either one of those places with your driver's license or with your state ID. And once you go in, you can just let the judges know, the people who are in the polling place working, just let them know that you wanted to register, and they'll direct you to the right place to go and register in the polling place. If you miss early voting, you can go to the voting center and vote. Well, your polling place and vote. The best way to know your polling place, especially if you're not registered, you can call our office. We can direct you on the best place to go so that you're actually in the polling place that's in your district.
Okay, that was one of my questions that I was going to ask later on. But yeah, so the best way to find out is just to call. You said what? I'm sorry. As far
as call our office. Yeah, you can call our office. Our number is 410-548-4830. And we can help you and direct you into, because we have a lot of people who have moved to the area. We found that out this week. We've met a lot of people this week who've been trying to make that deadline. So being new to the area, you may not know where all the polling places are. So giving us a call, we'll be able to tell you where they're located. On the Wicomico County website, they do have a link for the Board of Elections. And if you go to that link, it will show you a list of all of the polling places in Wicomico County.
Okay.
All right. So a little bit earlier, we were talking about options, and who doesn't love a good option? And I feel like you brought up a couple, but what are some different ways to vote, especially if my legs are weak and feeble and tired, and they can't take me to my voting place?
Well, let's talk about these weak and feeble legs. The best thing to do if you can't make it to one of the polling places is to vote by mail. We do have a vote by mail option in Maryland. You do not have to be out of town or elderly in order to use the vote by mail option. You just need to complete an application requesting to have your ballot by mail. And the deadline to request that ballot actually is November the 1st. So you have until November the 1st to complete that application. You can do that online, again, at the state website, and that's elections.maryland.gov. They have a link on there, and you can apply for a mail-in ballot. You can call our office. You can stop by our office, complete the application, and you'll receive your ballot by mail. There's also early voting. And again, we talked about that a few moments ago. We had that at the Civic Center and at First Baptist Church. Early voting, and when we first started, we talked about voting starting in November. Early voting actually starts on October 27th. That is right around the corner. We are about to be dead smack into election season. So October 27th, we start our early voting, and that is 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, Thursday through Thursday. So October 27th through November the 3rd, every day, Saturday and Sunday included. Keep us in your prayers. Yes, and it'll be 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day during that time. And that is open to everyone. Everyone can go to early voting. If you want to go ahead and make sure you don't miss the date, maybe you have to work on election day, you can go and vote at early voting. And that is an option for everyone. And then, of course, you can vote on election day, which is November the 8th, and you can go to your assigned polling place to vote.
I'm just going to add, this is for my curiosity. Mm-hmm. So do you have more people? I know it's election year, it happens every so often, but do you have more people doing the early voting than you do actually on election day? Or is it usually like you still got them last minute people that just wait till traditional people just wait till election day to go out and vote?
Yes, there are a lot of people they've been doing it for so many years. They want the traditional way, no change. So it's kind of half and half. You never really know what you'll get. For the primary, the numbers were kind of low for early voting. We are looking for them to increase for the general election, especially since with the general election, the primary election was focused particularly on your party. Mm-hmm. So the ballot that you got for the primary was for the party that you represented, so that you could pick the people that you wanted to represent you on this general ballot. Right. So a lot of people bypass the primary and they wait for the general. So we are looking for the numbers to increase for the general. And a lot of people do like the option of voting early. It's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing different. Nothing happens any different than on election day, except that you can just go to those two places, Civic Center and First Baptist Church, to vote for early voting.
Listen, early voting saved me in the last presidential election. I literally had COVID. Election. Unbeknownst to me, I was sick and I had COVID during election day. So had I not voted early, I would have been out there being a super spreader.
I'm glad you went early. So I'm glad I went early. I think we had a couple more questions.
Yeah. So what should you do if you encounter any type of issues while you're at the voting polls?
Give us a call at the office. You can call us at the office. Our office will be open when the polls are open. Again, keep us in your prayers. And we will be here. So if there's a problem, by all means, give us a call. We want to make sure that everyone has the right to vote. That's our job, to make sure that all the voters of Wicomico County have the right to vote. So if there's an issue, if there's a problem, if there's something you don't understand, by all means, we're here to help. At each of the polling places, though, we do have chief judges. They are our managers of the polling place, and they are glad to help as well. They can answer your questions. If there's a problem and they can't answer it, they may give us a call. And, you don't have to panic. Everyone wants to help because we want to make sure that all of our residents get a chance to vote.
Okay. I have a question. It's not necessarily about election day. It's just about people who want to be more socially involved. How do we go about finding, those local political events so that we can go and meet the candidates? Because I know that they have all types of events like all over, so that we can go and meet the candidates for ourselves. Does that information made ready to you, or is there a way we can find that out? Or
unfortunately, that information is not given to us. So when there's forums or things going on in town, that has nothing to do with our office. So we don't normally know about it. The only way we would know is if there was an event and someone asked us to come and speak, or to share some information on voting, or maybe do a registration drive at the event. Then we would know, but they don't have to report that to us. They don't have to let us know at all. So the best place to look would probably be on the candidates' websites themselves. Social media has offered a lot to our voters. We've learned a lot from our voters that they found out on social media. So social media has been very helpful. So if you follow those candidates on social media, they normally post on their social media accounts where they are or what's happening or any events they have upcoming. A lot of the candidates also have websites. So on their websites, they keep that information updated as well.
Okay. Were there any other questions that anybody had?
Yeah. Have you seen an uptick in the number of people registering for this cycle, or has it kind of plateaued?
It's kind of plateaued. I think, and I'm probably really stepping on somebody else's question, so I was trying to stay questions without just talking. It's kind of plateaued, but I think one thing that residents of Wicomico County don't clearly understand is that the gubernatorial election, and that's what we're in our gubernatorial election, because we're working on putting a governor in office, and this election is just as important as our presidential election.
Yes.
And so when we have our presidential election, we see a lot more people come out because they're like, oh, we have to vote for president, who's going to be in office. And I get that. But the gubernatorial election is just as important because the people that we put in office now will impact the change in the things that our president will even be able to do.
Right.
So it's still important that we do the research. It's important that we register people to vote. It's important that we have conversations like this just to get voting on the radar for a lot of people who may not be thinking about it.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense because I realize this is like you put your local officials in place in office who are going to be representing you.
Absolutely.
So it's like it should be just as many, or if not more, come out for your local elections. Because you just want to put the right people in place.
Right.
Yeah, this is the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, is because like Ms. Jocelyn said, people come out they vote for the president, but this election where we're voting for our governors and our local offices, these affect our local government, the sheriffs and the things like that. Like, certain things that go on in town that we don't like or we do like. This is the election that affects that. So this is the reason why it is important to vote. Did anybody else have any more questions?
Yeah, I have a question out of curiosity.
Go ahead, Ron.
I don't know if you know the answer. How does Wicomico County compare to other counties in Maryland in reference to the percentage of registered voters?
Wicomico County is not bad. We're not bad.
Okay.
We're doing pretty good compared to our other counties. And again, too, you have to think of the population of the other counties, because especially some of our sister counties across the bridge on the Western Shore, their numbers are humongous, but they also have larger populations than we do. But Wicomico County, we're doing fairly well here as far as our registration numbers go. However, we could always be doing better. There's always room for improvement because there are so many people that are not registered. You would be surprised if you actually stopped and asked people, are you registered? A lot of people know why or what's the purpose. And it's important to register to vote because it's important that your voice is heard. And even though I think a lot of people feel my voice is just one voice, what difference does it make? But when we all come together, we can make a huge impact. And it's hard to get that point across until you have events like this, or we actually do different type of outreach within the community of Wicomico as a whole, just to make sure that people are aware of the options they have to register, how to register. And do you all have your cell phones? Or are you guys on your cell phones?
No,
I have one.
Okay, on your cell phone, if you go to send me you're going to send a text message, and go to you're going to send it to 77788. And in the message, I just want you to put the word check, CHECK, like check mark, just a check, and hit enter. Yes.
Okay.
So what was it again?
77788.
Not you missing the 5 numbers that were presented.
Look, I missed it too.
He was focused.
It's 3 7s and 2 8s.
I would have.
Oh wow, okay.
And if you type the word check, and if you right there, it gives you an option to check to see if you're registered. I think that this is so cool that the state offers this because one, it reaches out to our younger voters because everyone has a cell phone and everybody's on their phone. So if somebody's like, I'm not sure, I think I was, but I might not be now, you can go here, go to check. If you click the actual link that it sent you, you can put in your information and you can check to see if you're registered.
And it doesn't even ask for that much information. Like it doesn't even ask for any major personal information, just basic info.
Correct. Okay. And even if you run into someone who's like, I want to vote, but I'm not sure where to go, this also helps because it tells you what polling place you should go to.
Oh, okay.
So Wicomico, the state of Maryland they made a change with our ballots. And with their ballots, there's a ballot for every precinct in Wicomico County. So Wicomico County, we have 63 ballot styles because we have to have one for every precinct. And
my God,
that's why I asked you to keep us in prayer.
We're gonna keep you lifted,
please. So this also will give the voter that information. It lets them know what precinct they're actually in. When you do the check, it gives you all of that information. So you can check to see if you're registered, what precinct you're in, what polling place you should be voting at.
Yeah, and it gives you the Board of Elections information.
Yes, so you can call us if you need us.
And it gives you the sample ballot. Why didn't you tell me this to begin with?
Saved a lot of time. I could have saved a lot of time.
So again, Ms. Johnson, if you go to 77788 and type the word check, you can find out a lot of information about voting.
It gives the sample ballot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's hot.
So
they're doing everything that can possibly be done to make sure that people get out and vote. Our pastor says it all the time. A voteless people is a hopeless people, and we do not want to be those people. So vote to registering to vote. I'm sorry. Oh, Reverend Gail.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut. You could have kept. Well, I just was letting you know I had some question. Like, and also this is from curiosity. My curiosity. Like, you have to be 18 to register to vote. It's been so long ago, I can't remember.
You have to be 18 to vote. You can register at the age of 16.
Okay.
Sure did.
But you have to be 18 to vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know in school that, and I don't know, it's because, I came through, had a lot of older teachers. Mm-hmm. I came that era when the teachers were a lot older, but they pushed us to make sure we registered to vote, and they talked about it for various reasons. But is that something that's talked about in the school system now at all? Or I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm just saying, is this something that they can talk about in the school system at all now, for especially the upper class, the upperclassmen?
The question, I guess, would be, do they talk about it? I know that they probably can. Listening to some of the concerns of some of the voters that come in the office, I don't think it's something that we focus on heavily in schools anymore. When I was in school, we had civics. I mean, that probably tells my age and all that.
No, right.
But we had civics class. I'm not sure. I don't think that's a thing anymore. And so we definitely talked about it there, but I'm not sure to what extent they talk about it. I know that there are some organizations in the schools, maybe Honor Society and things like that, who may actually do outreach activities. And so they may actually talk about it. But as far as it being an actual subject, and again, Board of Education is on the ballot. So, that's something to consider. Board of Education is on the ballot, but I don't think that it's a heavy topic in schools as it was when we were.
No, we had government, and so we talked about government, the different levels and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't ever think there was ever a push to be and you should vote. It might have been an offhand thing when we started talking about presidential elections and primaries and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You all have the power to vote, but when you take government, you're not old enough to vote yet. So
are you 16?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure I took government when I was 16. I definitely wasn't 18 yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing I do love, the Department of Motor Vehicle, when you go to get your license and your permit, voting is an option there. They definitely push that there a lot. I had to go there recently, and I was seeing on all the screens, early voting, election day voting, and even signs saying that we need election judges. I thought that was really cool because a lot of people have to go there. So it's a great outlet to be able to get that information out to different counties in Maryland.
A lot of it's on social media too, like Instagram and Snapchat, little banners that say, check your voter registration status. It's voting time.
Those are perfect. I love that because that definitely puts the information out and it helps to hit all the different age groups.
So I had just, since you were speaking about election judges, how does one go about doing that if they want to be a part of that process, if they want to be out there, being one of the people who are assisting with the vote? I know you probably can't do it for this election, but
we had training already for this one. However, we are always looking for election judges. Always.
They pay.
You get paid?
Yes, we do pay.
You get more than a sticker when you're a judge.
Yeah. You know what? I like that. I feel like that should be a tagline on something. You get more than a sticker when you're a judge.
You really get a check, honey.
But we are always looking for election judges, always. And for Wicomico, we actually have an email address. It's wicomico.judges@maryland.gov. And you would just send your information to that email. And you can actually do it on the state website too, especially if there are people watching who possibly are in another county. from the state website, you can register to be an election judge. And the state will actually send that information to the county that you are a resident of, and they'll contact you to be a judge. And you just have to, one, be a voter in that county. Mm-hmm. Well, not particularly in that county, because you can be a judge in another county, but you do have to be a registered voter.
I got two more quick questions. Can you speak to someone who says, I have a criminal record? Does that affect my ability to vote?
This is a very important topic and dear to my heart for various reasons. But there was a period of time when in Maryland, that would be a huge problem. Mm-hmm. But if you are not incarcerated, you're out. You can sign your paperwork. You are not behind bars. Even if you're on parole, you can still register to vote. Yes. And you can vote in the election. And I feel that information doesn't get out enough. You can still register. And it's if you are in jail, incarcerated with a felony, you cannot vote. They will actually cancel your registration until you get out if you were already registered. You cannot vote if you have a felony, but if you are in for a misdemeanor, you can still vote. If you're in for a misdemeanor, or if you're in and you're awaiting trial, waiting before, you can still vote. You just have to register, complete the application, especially for some of our brothers and sisters who may be behind bars for whatever reason. There are mail-in ballot options available for those individuals as well. And most of the facilities have someone there that can actually assist through that process. So even here in Wicomico, we have a contact person that we have at 411, and we talk with them. And when they get information, or if they have people there that want to vote, they make sure they get us their information. So at most of the facilities, there is someone there that can assist them. And
that's great.
We also offer. We also have a program for our seniors. We have a program for our nursing homes and assisted living facilities, where we actually make sure that they have the opportunity to vote as well, because we don't want to take that right away from anyone in our county. If they are able to vote and they want to vote, we want to make sure they have the right to vote. So at our senior centers, our nursing homes, assisted living facilities, the activities directors usually serve as the contact for those facilities. And since COVID, we haven't been able to go to the facilities. But before COVID, what we would normally do is actually go to the facility and set up so that the residents of those facilities could actually come to a common area at their center, and they could actually complete their ballot and vote right there.
That's awesome.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. No, my last question, if you don't mind. This must
be that rapid fire thing Brittany was talking about.
No. This is one last question.
That's completely different.
No, because I'm fascinated about voting and the importance of it, and
it's very important.
It leads me to question why so many people don't. But my question for you is, you're obviously very passionate about it, right? Mm-hmm. What led you to the County Board of Elections, and kind of talk to us briefly about why you're so passionate about it?
I feel like that's a big question.
You can condense it.
I think I'm so passionate about it because since I've been here, or since I've been involved in the election process, I've learned so many things that I didn't even know was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing to know about this or a thing to know about that. So it's like, as I get this information, I'm like, oh my gosh, how can I get this information and just sit on it? I have to share it with others. So right. It becomes like my passion to make sure that it gets out, that people know you have a right to vote. You can vote. It's important to vote. And I know there's so many people that don't want to vote, so many people that don't agree with that statement. But I feel like knowing that information and not sharing it is kind of selfish. So anytime I get the opportunity to share it, I try my best to do that.
Got you.
Was there any more questions? Anyone? Anybody? Well, since
I was gonna ask another one, but I feel like
go ahead. No. This is what this is for.
Intimidated.
No. This is we don't want no.
You're fine.
No, we want because somebody else might have this question out in Cyberland, and go ahead.
No, it was great. No, I'm good. No, thank you.
You can't say you have.
What if you need? Is there any resource out there available to people if they don't have transportation to get to the voting site?
That is an awesome question. Currently, we don't know of any here at our office.
Okay.
There have been in years past different organizations and programs that have offered transportation. We haven't received anything here, and we don't facilitate that from the office.
Okay.
That reminds me of the
I guess maybe that could be one of the things that our church offers.
I was gonna say. I remember one time we did before.
You need, yeah.
We've done it in the past.
To the polls.
Right.
Get your soul to the. You remember? It's the catchphrases for me. I love it.
Yes, I love it.
It's the catchphrases for me. All right. Since no one else has any more questions, I assume I want to take the time to thank you so much, Ms. Montgomery, for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you
for having me. This was fun.
You so yes, it's a vibe here. We're a vibe. And just some general knowledge for everyone. Election day is November 8th, 2022. Early voting begins October 27th and continues until November 3rd. Our church, First Baptist Church, is a early voting site, as well as the Wicomico Civic Center. We're gonna make sure we list all of the websites that Miss Jocelyn mentioned so that you guys can go there and get the information you needed. Because we want you to vote. We want you to vote. We want you to vote. You need to vote. You must vote. We had a old superintendent of our Sunday school, Miss Marva Daly, who has gone on. She used to say, you can do it, you will do it, you must do it. So please get out and vote.
I like it.
Now, this is our rapid fire question. And our rapid fire questions usually have absolutely nothing to do with the topic that we talked about.
Okay.
So my rapid fire question for tonight
I thought you were gonna ask us, should there be, how are we gonna vote on the cannabis? But that's fine.
I don't listen. I don't have nothing. Listen. I feel like.
Oh Lord, I hope Reverend's not watching this.
Listen, I'm sure they're going to like. I feel like that's something that a lot of people will probably want to be educated more about the voting on the cannabis, because if when you know. But
tell them look at their sample ballot; they'll find out more.
If you look at your sample ballot, you will see that question on there. We the church do not tell you what to do, but we mind our business and we serve the Lord with gladness, and you do what you do. So my rapid fire question has nothing to do with voting, but it has to do with a very popular Netflix series. And the Jeffrey Dahmer series.
Oh.
Did you see it? Why or why not? What was your opinion on it? And I will go first because I'm one of the ones who I have a thing about watching guts, gory horror. It really messes with me. So therefore, I had heard so much on like social media about, honey, oh, that was terrible. Like, oh, I can't watch it. It was da-da-da-da-da. So I'm scared to watch it. And then I have a cousin who was like, girl, that was very lightweight. It was nothing. You need to go ahead and just watch that. So Brianna, did you watch it? Why or why not? And if you did, what is your opinion?
Right. Okay. I have not yet watched it. I plan to. I'm interested. We're going to see how the first episode goes. The little advert is enough to make me like, ooh, like you existed for real? Like, but I'm kind of interested to see it. I'm just a little busy right now, so I gotta wait. But that's where I'm at.
Reverend Gail, did you watch it?
No, I haven't watched it yet. It's not saying that I won't. I just haven't watched it yet. I've been kind of busy, so no, I haven't watched it yet. I may watch it, but it's not something. It's not in my top priority list. Or I got to see it, So
okay, Reverend Watson.
So I did watch it, but when I watched it, it made me to start. I started thinking about from a theological perspective about, can we separate the act from the art, and should we separate the act from the art? Because it made me start to think about, okay, now obviously their acts weren't as egregious or evil as Jeffrey Dahmer's, but R. Kelly, should we listen to R. Kelly? Is it okay to listen to R. Kelly?
Kanye West.
And we separate his art from his act as a Christian. Bill Cosby, right? Can you separate? Are you still watching the Cosby Show? Can you separate the act or the acts from the art? It just raises a lot of theological questions and presumptions in my mind. I did watch it, to answer your question though.
What's your opinion on it?
It's a big one. We'll probably be here till tomorrow. It's a big one.
It's a big opinion. So we'll talk about it later. Miss Jocelyn, did you watch the series?
No. Brittany, I'm like you. I don't want to see it. I don't watch nothing horror, scary, guts, none of it. And everybody at work is like, oh my gosh, you should look. No, I don't want to see it. And as you can see, I'm still at work, so I don't have time for it anyway. But, but no, anything guts and it's a no for me.
Yeah, because one of the things that was conflicting was the family. A lot of the family members, you know, they were triggered and traumatized.
Absolutely.
It felt like they had to relive the act. But artistically, it was good. It was good.
I feel like the young man that played Jeffrey Dahmer, I can't think of his name. It's like Evan Peters or Peters.
Evan Peters.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if he's not in therapy, he might need to be, because he tends to play a lot of, he was an American Horror Story. He plays a lot of those very heavy roles, and I feel like
all the time.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's like the go-to for those type of roles. I feel like he needs a hug continuously, just to let people know that he's okay.
Because one might say, was it worth it? Was the art worth it when you potentially were glamorizing evil?
Right.
That's a good question.
One thing that I did hear about it, and it was, and spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it and wants to. My cousin was telling me about the ending, how at the end he found Christ. So she was explaining to me that.
That's a
Really?
Can you give a spoiler alert on a real life event?
Allegedly, he found Christ and he was baptized, but I can't spoil.
Really?
That's another. And to give the audience perspective, it's a series on Netflix called Dahmer. It's about Jeffrey Dahmer, who was one of the most notorious serial killers in the United States. Mm-hmm. He preyed on Black and brown victims for the most part. And that was kind of one of the reasons he was able to get away with it so long. Because the Black and brown community, and specifically, he usually preyed on Black and brown homosexuals. And police and leadership probably didn't act as quickly and as efficiently as they could because of the victims and the color of their skin and their sexual preference.
So
Dahmer, Netflix series.
So
anyway, I didn't get that beat.
No, it was good. It was good. Like I said,
because our rapid fire question is supposed to be fun.
Usually our rapid fire questions are fun. It's just that I wanted to hear everybody's perspective on it, because I'm in between. Like, I want to watch it, but then it's like I don't. So I just need. But there's 3 people who haven't seen it. Reverend Watts is the only person that's seen it. He has, and I'm gonna have to talk to him because I know he's got a story to tell me about it. I'm gonna have a conversation with him after this. But I just wanted to hear everybody.
Now I feel bad. I feel unholy and unrighteous because I'm the only person. And everybody.
I had a desire. The desire is there. So we just as bad as you. The desire is there. You know? Thank you
No,
guys
that-
so much for being with us tonight. Thank you again, Miss Johnson. We appreciate you so
no
so much.
problem.
Yes,
We will be
Thank
absolutely.
you
Thank you.
and the rest of the board of elections in your prayers, because as you said, it is late right now and you were still at work. So
Yes.
we're praying for y'all, praying for your safety, praying, that this election here is as smooth as it possibly could be.
Thank you.
We
so
are
much.
out. We are done. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Until next time, peace out.
Peace.